Hello everyone, this is a presentation, G4S Security Solutions, Upholding the Virtue of Peace, a training presentation for employees on all levels, including managerial staff and hands-on security officers, by Mason Rousseaux. What is our goal? First and foremost, our goal is to combat the perilous nature of modern-day society. As we all know, and as the world progresses, there are more and more dangers around us constantly. With these increasing dangers, that does not necessarily mean that there are an increasing number of heroes and men and women with bravery to stand up to them. That is where we come in. Our job is to provide a wide array of security solutions to our beloved clientele. These different aspects of security solutions include the administration of background check services, security consultation services, hands-on fire and rescue, security officers, and much more. But at the bottom line, and the end goal of all of this, is that we value peace. Peace as an organizational goal. What does this mean? As previously stated, and obviously, we strive to keep people safe. That is what we are about here at G4S Security Solutions. Through the different provisions and aspects of service that we provide, we strive to better our communities and create a safer space for everybody, not just our clientele, but those around them. While this is an external use of the word peace and our services, we also look internally at our company. We strive to promote peace that creates a far better work environment for our employees on every single level and every aspect of the job. Now, what actually is peace? There are more than one single definition of the word peace. Obviously, it would be easier to flip to the dictionary and simply look up the definition of peace, where you could get 1 to maybe 3 different variations of the word. Superficially, the definition of peace is the cessation of conflict and or disturbances from the dictionary itself. While this is completely true, and there's nothing inherently wrong with this definition, I believe it is in our better interest to look further, and look no further than Scripture itself. Biblically, the word peace can be translated to shalom, which means a state of wholeness through right relationship with God and with man. Let's look further at what Scripture says about the virtue of peace. Matthew 5:9 is, Jesus said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, because they will be called sons of God." Looking even deeper, we see John 15:13, which says, "Greater love has no one than this, that someone lay down their life for his friends." Isn't that a perfect example of what Jesus did for our own lives as sinners when he laid down his life in an effort for peace amongst those who he calls children, and that he would lay down his life for those that he calls his friends, which are you and me. But from a standpoint of somebody that we can look at the here and now, right in front of our faces, we should look to Officer Palenko and Officer Johnson. First up, Officer Palenko, a commitment towards peace. In 2015, there was a convention where 2 officers were awarded the Security Officer of the Year award. These honors are given to officers or employees for outstanding acts of bravery, extreme acts of heroism, and remarkable professionalism under any circumstance. This first honor, given to Officer Brian Palenko, who is found credited with the detainment and diffusion of a situation where a large disturbance was caused in a hotel room in Honolulu. Officer Palenko, being the first officer at the scene, was called in the situation to other officers when the suspect fired a flare gun in his direction, which hit him in the hand, causing severe injury. Despite all of the pain and the injury itself, he put himself on the line while he put his suffering on the sideline in order to bring peace to the situation. Remarkably, he was able to extinguish the fire caused by the flare gun, chase down the suspect, and detain him until further authorities arrived at the scene. Our next hero is Officer Willie Johnson, who showcased an extreme sense of selfless heroism. On his regular daily patrol, Officer Johnson was called in to respond to a car that had been completely engulfed in flames. Upon his arrival at the scene, Officer Johnson found an elderly woman trapped inside of the burning vehicle. Seeing the severity of the situation, he decided to engage this situation directly, despite how dangerous and potentially life-threatening it could have been. Without any fear of the hazards at hand, Officer Johnson dragged the elderly woman in the inflamed car out of her vehicle and into safety. Later, it was claimed by both the news source and at the award ceremony that without this extreme act of heroism, the woman in the car would have died indefinitely, either from smoke inhalation or succumbing from the consumption of the flames. Promoting peace. As we have now learned, all roads of our company should lead to peace, whether that be what is done on the managerial level, down towards the staff members who work under those managers, all the way to the hands-on officers such as Officer Palenko and Officer Johnson. It's important that leadership and employees are both and all advocates for peace in every single level of this company. Furthermore, it is important that we are always fostering a peaceful work environment. And don't forget, we must remember the biblical value of peace. That is shalom. Some team encouragement. It is important to always value the importance of teamwork and conflict resolution. Touching back on our previous slide, whenever there is conflict within our company that cannot be resolved, how are we expected to resolve it for those who need our services? If we had conflict with one another's within our company, it is important to seek out those in which we have conflict with, figure out what the dispute is all about, find a common ground, or strive to solve it all together. Therefore, we can go forward in our company with peace in mind so that we might be able to pour our overflowing cup of peace onto the clientele who deeply need it. Also, recognize each other's own acts towards peacefulness. If somebody does a heroic act or even a small day-to-day task that promotes peacefulness, don't be afraid to give a pat on the back or show a kind gesture to encourage this act of peacefulness as an incentive, but also just as a nice act to go out of your way to show them how appreciative you are of the peacefulness of your fellow workers. As stated, remember the brave heroism of both Officer Palenko and Officer Johnson, as they set prime examples in the same way Jesus would, to strive towards peace through the sacrifice of their own safety and putting what they thought would hurt, what was hurting, what was dangerous to them, and the severity of the situation aside, to save those who are in need and to stop a situation that could be further dangerous if not stopped. Overall, strive to be more and more like Christ every single day. Lastly, a call to action. We know now that peace is significant in all aspects, not just from a superficial aspect of the dictionary definition, but more importantly, the biblical aspect of shalom, being under right relationship with man and God through the proceeding of actions that are right to God for the betterment of mankind. Reflect on this biblical value of peace. Take some time to think about what it means to you and the ways in which you can strive to do it yourself. Maybe you can't act out in the way that Officer Palenko and Officer Johnson acted, but that doesn't mean you can do day-to-day tasks that strive towards peacefulness. Not all of us have the opportunity to save a woman from a burning car or chase down a suspect in a hotel to catch them until other officers arrive. But we can still do things every single day to promote peacefulness, not just in our company, but in the world around us. Remember, 2 Thessalonians 3:16 states, "Now may the Lord of peace himself give you peace at all times in every way. The Lord be with you all." Thank you.